All right, so I wanted to make these videos a little bit different format. So instead of just going over the details and seeing what they do, we're going to do that on top of taking those details and figuring out what their best hidden potential system will look like according to the unit and what they do exactly in their passive skill, their leader skill, and also their super attack effect. This Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta and Super Saiyan Trunks Future, their leader skill is Bond of Parent and Child or Future Saga category key plus 3 in HP and attack and defense plus 170%, plus an additional HP and attack and defense plus 30% for characters who also belong to the Battle of Fate category. And then their passive skill activates the entrance animation once only and key plus 2 defense plus 70% and guards all attacks for 5 turns from the start of turn when there is another Bond of Parent and Child category ally attacking in the same turn at the start of the character's attacking turn. So already their entrance animation is pretty good. The biggest thing being they guard all attacks for 5 turns, so that's pretty good. But let's move on. Key plus 2 in attack and defense plus 140% at start of turn, and launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack. So they do get a guaranteed additional, and it has a chance of becoming a super attack, a medium chance more specifically, and then plus an additional key plus 1 up to plus 5, and defense plus 15% up to 75%, and chance of performing a critical hit plus 7% up to 35% with each attack received. We're going to go over that in just a minute, but here's the thing that's really good with them. Plus an additional attack and defense plus 70% and guards all attacks as the first attacker in a turn. So as a first slot unit, this part right here where they guard all attacks, no other conditions, whenever they're in the first slot, they're guarding all attacks no matter what. It doesn't end. It stays there forever. It has a lot of synergy with this right here. So they're getting up to 5 key, up to 75% defense, and up to 35% critical hit chance once they receive 5 attacks. On top of that, they guard all attacks for the first 5 turns after their entrance animation. For 5 turns, at the very least, you can put them in any slot and have them receive a bunch of attacks to help build up their full passive. And then after 5 turns, just stick them in the first slot. And at that point, you either have their full passive built up, or you only need 1 or 2 more attacks received to build their full passive, depending on the situation or the scenario, and depending on where enemies attack and which slots. This unit just overall is very, very, very good. And I do enjoy the synergy between a bunch of their skills and their passive skills. So a very, very good overall unit and a very powerful passive skill. And on top of that, as everybody knows, a very powerful leader skill as well. And then they do have an active skill, can be activated when all allies attacking the same turn are Future Saga category characters starting from the 3rd turn from the start of battle, or when HP is 50% or less starting from the 5th turn from the start of battle, once only. So it's not a bad condition, but their active skill massively raises attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage to enemy, and within the turn activated, all attacks become critical hits, raises all allies defense by 20% for 1 turn. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So if you need some defense for the rest of your team, you can definitely use this active skill and deal some damage to the enemy at the same time. Their 12 key super attack, they raise attack and defense for 1 turn and cause colossal damage to enemy. And then their 18 key, they're raising attack and defense infinitely and causes mega colossal damage to the enemy as well. They're going to be great for long events, for Super Battle Road. Like I said, they're just a great overall unit for you to have, especially at 55%. They're going to perform very, very well at 55%. You do not necessarily need dupes if you are free to play, or if you're a relatively light spender. I wouldn't worry about chasing after dupes for this unit because they are going to be returning for Sand Day. But as far as their hidden potential goes, seeing as they are an intelligence character, they inherently at 55% get dodge, which is a little bit unfortunate since their passive revolves around guarding attacks. So having that inherent level 5 dodge can hinder getting their full passive activated. But nonetheless, that's just a very small inconvenience for having a unit that is this good. But beyond 55%, once you unlock the bottom right path and the top left path. So at the very least, 79%. Since they do raise attack and defense infinitely on their 18 key, and you're most likely going to be getting their 18 key the majority of the time, I would say going for as many points into additional as possible would not be a bad route to go with. And then the rest into crit, because you do not want to put any more dodge into them for the fact that in their passive, they need to guard all attacks, not dodge attacks, in order to activate their full passive skill and to bring them up to the potential that they can be as a unit. So keep that in mind. But if you wanted to go a little more into crit and not put as many points into additionals, I think that would be fine too with this unit, but you definitely want to make sure that they have a good amount of additional to take advantage of raising their attack and defense infinitely on their 18 key, since you're going to be getting that the majority of the time. But also keep in mind as well that when you are considering the amount of crit that you might want to put into this unit, is the fact that when they do receive 5 attacks, they do get an extra 35% chance to crit. So if you do end up putting as many points into additionals as possible, you should end up with 15 additional, 6 crit, and 5 dodge. And yeah, that's about it. I'll catch you on the next one.